Adversity is an inevitable part of life. Life is filled with challenges. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you do, there will be moments when things do not go as planned. There will be obstacles that test your patience, difficulties that shake your confidence, and storms that push you to your limits. Some people face adversity and grow stronger. They rise above their struggles, learn from their hardships, and emerge wiser, more resilient than before. Others, however, allow challenges to break them. They lose faith in themselves, feel trapped in their circumstances, and struggle to find a way forward. So what makes the difference? Why do some people overcome adversity while others fall under its weight? Why adversity causes many to struggle? When faced with difficulties, many people feel overwhelmed. Fear takes over, and instead of looking for solutions, they focus on the problem. They resist change, clinging to the way things were, even when holding on only brings them more pain. Life is unpredictable. No one is immune to hardships, but the way we respond to adversity determines whether we rise or fall. If we lack flexibility, if we refuse to adapt, we may break under pressure. But if we learn to be resilient, to flow with the changes instead of fighting against them, we will find the strength to move forward. This brings us to a powerful lesson, a story of two trees, the mighty oak and the humble bamboo. It is a story that teaches us about strength, flexibility, and the ability to endure even the harshest storms. Because in the face of adversity, being strong is not enough. We must also learn to be adaptable. And sometimes, it is not the one who resists the storm that survives, it is the one who bends with it. The story of the oak tree and the bamboo. Bend or break. In a vast and beautiful forest, two trees stood side by side. One was a mighty oak, towering above all others, its trunk thick and its branches wide. It stood firm and proud, believing in its own strength. Next to it was a slender bamboo, small in comparison, its thin stalks swaying gently with the breeze. Though it looked fragile, the bamboo had a quiet resilience within it. For years, both trees lived in harmony, basking under the sun and enjoying the gentle winds. The oak tree would often boast about its strength, saying, "Look how powerful I am. My roots are deep. My branches are strong. No storm can bring me down." The bamboo, however, remained humble, simply swaying with the wind, never claiming to be strong, yet always moving with the rhythm of nature. The storm arrives. One day, dark clouds gathered in the sky. The wind began to howl, and the forest fell silent. A massive storm was approaching. The trees braced themselves as the first waves of strong wind swept through the forest. The oak tree stood tall, refusing to bow. I will not bend, it thought. I am strong. I will withstand this storm. But the wind grew stronger. Rain poured down in heavy sheets. The storm raged on with an intensity the forest had never seen before. The fall of the mighty oak. The oak tree fought against the storm with all its strength. It resisted, pushing back against the powerful winds. But the harder it fought, the more pressure it endured. The relentless force of the storm was too much. With a loud crack, the mighty oak's trunk split apart. Its once powerful branches snapped, and finally, with one final gust of wind, the great oak tree collapsed, crashing to the ground. Its strength, which once seemed unbreakable, had become its greatest weakness. The bamboo's quiet strength. And what of the bamboo? As the storm raged, the bamboo did not resist. Instead of fighting the wind, it bent. It swayed with the storm, moving where the wind pushed it. It did not try to stand rigid. It simply flowed with the forces of nature. And when the storm finally passed, the bamboo was still standing, not broken, not damaged. It simply straightened back up, ready to grow again. The lesson from the story of the oak and the bamboo teaches us a profound truth about resilience. Many people believe that strength means never bending, never yielding. They think that to be strong means to stand firm, to resist, to never change. But in reality, true strength is found in flexibility, in adaptability, in knowing when to yield and when to stand tall. The oak tree, with all its might, believed it could resist the storm, but its inability to adapt led to its downfall. The bamboo, on the other hand, survived because it embraced the storm rather than fought against it. Being rigid may give the illusion of strength, but being adaptable is what allows us to endure. How this applies to life. Life is full of storms, challenges, setbacks, unexpected changes. If we respond like the oak tree, trying to resist every difficulty, refusing to change, we may break under pressure. But if we learn to bend, to adjust, to move with the challenges rather than against them, we will find a way to survive and thrive. Those who refuse to change, who cling to old ways and resist life's shifts, may struggle and fall like the oak tree. Those who embrace change, who stay flexible and open-minded, will endure and continue growing, just like the bamboo. When life challenges you, ask yourself, are you being like the oak, standing rigid until you break? Or are you being like the bamboo, bending with the storm but always rising again? True strength is not about never falling. It is about knowing how to rise again. Be flexible. Be adaptable. and you will find that no storm can ever truly defeat you. Why flexibility helps us overcome adversity. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, how strong we think we are, or how carefully we try to control everything, challenges will come. Change is inevitable. Difficulties will arise. And in those moments, the way we respond determines whether we break under pressure or rise above it. Many people believe that strength means resisting change, holding on tightly to what is familiar, and refusing to bend. But the truth is, real strength lies in flexibility. Just like the bamboo that bends in the storm but never breaks, those who learn to adapt will always find a way to move forward. So why does flexibility help us navigate adversity? And how can we train ourselves to be more adaptable in the face of life's storms? 1. Clinging to the past makes us more likely to fall. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with adversity is their inability to let go of the past. When faced with change, many people try to resist it. They want things to stay the same. They hold on to old ways of thinking, old habits, old expectations even when those things no longer serve them. But life does not stand still. It is always moving forward. And those who refuse to move with it often find themselves feeling stuck, frustrated, or overwhelmed. Imagine trying to swim against a strong current. The more you resist, the harder it becomes. The water pushes against you, exhausting you, until you can no longer move. But if you stop fighting and go with the flow, you conserve your energy. You find a new path. You learn to move with the current instead of against it. The same principle applies to life. When we hold on to what was, we miss the opportunities of what could be. But when we accept that change is inevitable, we open ourselves to new possibilities. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom. It means we understand that the past cannot be changed, but the future is still within our power to shape. 2. Accepting reality helps us find new paths. When we accept that adversity is a natural part of life, we stop wasting energy on complaining and start focusing on solutions. Difficulties will come. That is something none of us can avoid. But instead of resisting them, what if we saw them as opportunities? A failed plan is not the end. It is a chance to try a new approach. A lost opportunity is not a disaster. It is a sign that something better may be ahead. A closed door is not a punishment. It is a push toward another path. Being flexible does not mean giving up. It means finding a way forward, even when things do not go as expected. Think about the bamboo in the storm. It does not stand rigid and fight against the wind. It bends, it moves, it shifts. And when the storm passes, it stands tall again. We must learn to do the same. When life challenges us, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Try asking, what can I learn from this? When we shift our mindset from resisting to adapting, we stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. 3. Patience and adaptability make us stronger. Many people think that strength is about standing firm, never backing down, and never showing vulnerability. But true strength is knowing when to be firm and when to be flexible. Life is not a battle to be won through sheer force. Sometimes, stepping back is the smartest move. Sometimes, yielding for a moment allows us to gather our energy for the next step forward. Think about a fighter in a boxing match. If they keep throwing punches without strategy, they will tire quickly. But if they know when to dodge, when to step back, and when to strike, they last longer. They fight smarter. They become stronger. The same applies to life. There are times to push forward, and there are times to pause, adjust, and find a new angle. Knowing the difference between the two is what makes us truly strong. Being flexible does not mean being weak. It means having the wisdom to adapt, to be patient, and to trust that even when things do not go as planned, we are still capable of moving forward. Final thought. Strength is in flexibility. We cannot control everything that happens to us. Life will bring storms, changes, and challenges that we never expected. But what we can control is how we respond. Will we be like the oak tree standing rigid until we break? Or will we be like the bamboo bending, adjusting, and rising again after every storm? True resilience is not about never falling. It is about knowing how to rise again. So the next time life challenges you, take a deep breath. Do not resist what you cannot control. Instead, focus on what you can do. Be flexible. Be adaptable. And remember, it is not the strongest who survive, but the ones who know how to bend without breaking, how to cultivate flexibility in adversity. Life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan, unexpected challenges will arise. Some people become overwhelmed by adversity, while others find a way to adapt and keep moving forward. The difference lies in flexibility, the ability to adjust, to flow with change, and to remain strong without being rigid. Just like the bamboo that bends with the wind but never breaks, we too must learn to be adaptable. Flexibility does not mean weakness. It does not mean giving up. It means knowing when to stand firm and when to shift our approach. It means understanding that resilience is not about resisting change, but about learning to move with it. So how do we train ourselves to be more flexible in the face of adversity? How can we develop the mindset and habits that will help us endure challenges without losing ourselves? Here are 3 powerful ways to cultivate flexibility in difficult times. 1. Learn to accept what you cannot change. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with adversity is because they try to control everything. They resist change, fight against circumstances they cannot influence, and become frustrated when things do not go their way. But not everything in life is within our control. There are things we simply cannot change: other people's actions, the past, certain life events. And the more we fight against them, the more exhausted and discouraged we become. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It does not mean we stop trying or stop caring. It means we recognize reality for what it is and stop wasting energy on things beyond our control. When we accept what we cannot change, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. We stop dwelling on what is out of reach and start focusing on what we can do. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "How can I move forward from here?" The moment we shift from resisting to accepting, we create space for solutions to appear. We lighten the burden on our minds and open ourselves to new possibilities. 2. Focus on what you can change. While some things are out of our control, there are always aspects we can influence. The key to resilience is learning to identify what we can change and take action on those things. If you cannot change the situation, change how you respond to it. If you cannot change someone's actions, change how you let them affect you. If you cannot go back and fix the past, focus on what you can build in the future. Instead of wasting energy complaining about what is unfair or impossible, shift your focus to what you can improve. For example, imagine losing a job. You cannot undo what happened, but you can choose your response. You can dwell on frustration and fear, or you can take action learning new skills, exploring new opportunities, and staying open to different paths. Every challenge carries a hidden opportunity, but we can only see it when we stop focusing on what we have lost and start looking for what we can create. Flexibility means choosing growth over resistance. It means seeing setbacks as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. And when we train ourselves to always look for solutions instead of problems, no adversity can truly defeat us. 3. Stay calm and grounded in difficult situations. When adversity strikes, our first reaction is often emotional. Fear, anger, stress, and frustration can take over, clouding our judgment and making challenges seem even bigger than they are. But if we let emotions control us, we lose the ability to think clearly and make wise decisions. To be truly flexible, we must train ourselves to stay calm under pressure. Imagine a storm. The trees that survive are not the ones that panic and resist. They are the ones that bend with the wind but stay deeply rooted in the ground. We must learn to be like the bamboo, strong but adaptable, firm but fluid, rooted but capable of movement. How do we stay calm in adversity? Pause before reacting. When faced with a challenge, take a deep breath before making any decisions. Give yourself a moment to think rather than react impulsively. Remind yourself that everything is temporary. No storm lasts forever. The situation you are facing now will pass, and how you handle it will shape your future. Trust in your ability to adapt. You have overcome hardships before. You have learned, grown, and survived difficult times. Trust that you can do it again. When we approach adversity with calmness and clarity, we make better choices. We turn setbacks into opportunities. We navigate through difficulties instead of being consumed by them. Final thought. Be like the bamboo. We cannot stop challenges from coming, but we can train ourselves to handle them better. We can learn to accept what we cannot change, rather than wasting energy fighting against it. We can learn to focus on what we can control, rather than feeling helpless in the face of adversity. We can learn to stay calm and centered, rather than reacting with fear and frustration. And just like the bamboo, we can bend with the wind without breaking. Life is not about avoiding difficulties. It is about becoming strong enough and flexible enough to face them without losing ourselves. So the next time you encounter adversity, ask yourself, am I standing rigid like the oak tree, trying to fight the storm? Or am I bending like the bamboo, adapting, adjusting, and rising again once the storm has passed? Because true resilience is not about resisting change. It is about learning how to move with it and still remain strong. Be flexible to be strong. Adapt to stay resilient. Life is full of challenges. It does not always go as planned. And at times, adversity will test us in ways we never expected. But in those moments, how we respond defines who we become. Some believe that strength means standing firm, resisting every obstacle, and refusing to bend. But true strength is not about stubborn resistance, it is about adaptability. Just like in nature, where the trees that survive storms are not always the strongest, but the ones that can bend without breaking, we too must learn when to stand tall and when to adjust. The power of flexibility in overcoming challenges. The story of the oak tree and the bamboo teaches us an important lesson. The oak, strong and rigid, refused to move with the storm and ultimately fell. The bamboo, though seemingly weak, survived because it embraced change, moved with the wind, and remained rooted even in the harshest conditions. Life is much the same. Those who refuse to adapt, who resist change, and who cling to old ways often struggle when difficulties arise. But those who stay open-minded, flexible, and willing to adjust will find a way forward, no matter what challenges they face. Being flexible does not mean giving up. It does not mean allowing life to push you in any direction without control. It means knowing when to hold firm and when to shift your approach. It means understanding that strength is not just about endurance, but also about resilience. When you face hardships, remember the bamboo and the oak. Ask yourself, am I resisting in a way that will break me? Or am I allowing myself to move with the challenges, learning, and growing along the way? Be flexible enough to adjust, but strong enough to stay true to yourself. Know when to bend and when to stand tall. Instead of trying to control everything, focus on what you can influence and let go of the rest. Because when you learn to move with the storm instead of against it, you will realize that no challenge is too great. No obstacle is too overwhelming. You will not break, you will rise, stronger than ever.